Hey, Evan here with Hopper Music Works. Due to the virus that shall not be named, many people taking music lessons may be on hold right now. So I wanted to contribute a few lessons to players of varying skill levels throughout the week. This lesson will be aimed more at beginners or anybody who hasn't seen the pentatonic scale. This is a great scale with a very simple shape that can be used as a little gateway to get you into like lead guitar playing or jamming over backing tracks, anything like that. It kind of gets you into the exploration of improvising and playing things that you came up with yourself. It's really fun. So let me show you the pentatonic scale. We're going to start on the 5th fret of the low E string with our index finger. Then we're going to use our pinky to play the 8th fret on the low E string. Going on to the A string, we're going to use that index finger again for the 5th fret. And then we're going to use our ring finger for the 7th fret. So far we have 5, 8, 5, 7. Now the D and the G string are the same as the A string, so 5, 7, 5, 7. And then the B and the high E string are the same as the low E string, so 5, 8, 5, 8. So all of that as one piece would be 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. That's going from low E to high E. Now what you want to do with this is really memorize it at first. So just practice going up the scale all the way from E to E, and then work your way back down from high E to low E. Just like that. What you'll want to do is try to keep a consistent pace, but in the beginning, when you're trying to memorize it, you don't necessarily need to worry too much about being very perfect with this. You just need to get your fingers in the right place, hear how it sounds so that you get used to when a mistake might happen, and then employ that metronome so that way you can keep a nice steady beat. For beginners, I would suggest starting at 60 beats per minute, and every beat is a note. That is a nice pace that's going to push you a little bit, but it's not going to feel like you're out of control with going quick. Then when you get comfortable with that, you can start speeding that up a little bit. This lesson is aimed at intermediate players who are wanting to begin or work on their finger picking. And what we'll do is we're going to play over a C chord, and our pattern is going to be on the A and B string to start out with. You're going to play that together, so with your thumb and your index finger. Then what we're going to do is alternate between thumb and index, starting on the D and the G, and then going back out to the A and the B, and then back in to the D and the G. Just like that. Together on the A and the B, D and G separately, thumb index, A and B separately, thumb index, and D and G separately, thumb index. It's a really good picking pattern because it employs doing fingers that are together and also separate. Mostly separate, which gives you a good chance to get the coordination down between the fingers, and when you have a static chord, you can really focus on your picking hand. Some of you may already recognize what song this would come from, so when you expand it, you would get Dust in the Wind by Kansas, and that involves a lot of moving the note that is on the B string to change the chord quality, which gives you that really awesome intro. This lesson is aimed at intermediate or advanced players who are wanting to develop hybrid picking. So what is hybrid picking? Well, you have your pick in its normal position between your thumb and your index finger, and what you're going to do is you're going to occasionally pick a note with your middle finger or eventually any other finger that you may get comfortable using. I suggest starting out with that middle finger as the finger that you use in the beginning because it's right next to the pick, and it gives you a good chance to get used to how this coordination works because it's pretty different and it does take a while to get used to it. So when I began to hybrid pick, I only used it in one situation, and that was sliding from the 7th fret to the 9th fret and then playing the 8th fret on the B string with a hybrid pick like this. And then you might go back and forth between that 8th and 9th fret on the B and the G string and finish off a pentatonic lick. All of this stuff that I played was through the pentatonic scale, moving from the first position into the second position of the pentatonic scale. So I might walk up the scale, slide up, and then hit that B string note with that middle finger. That's all I did for weeks, getting used to adding in this finger. And then I would occasionally add it into different places on the pentatonic scale that I was comfortable with. Like I already knew this scale, so I'm using it over something that I don't need to think about what's happening on the fretboard. I can think more about what's happening with my picking hand. So try to add that in to certain spots on the pentatonic scale or any scale that you're comfortable with, and generally you're going to be substituting it over an upstroke. So wherever you might be going down, up, down, up, down, up, you could try to substitute one of those upstrokes with a hybrid pick. So down, up, hybrid, down. Something like that. So this lesson is aimed at advanced players or anybody who's wanting to learn how to sweep pick. Now, using an acoustic guitar, so it seems kind of uncharacteristic to be teaching a sweep picking lesson on that, but you can do sweep picking on any sort of a guitar. It's not just like a shred guitar metal type of a technique. You can do very short sweep picks that are only through a couple of strings. It doesn't always have to be a full arpeggio, but anyways, we could still explore how to begin and get through some of the pitfalls of starting out sweep picking. So when it comes to your right hand, sweep picking is one of the easiest techniques that you can do. You literally just go down, 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 up, 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 however many strings you're playing on. And this is a good thing because what you end up doing with your fretting hand is pretty difficult and there's a lot of movement that happens with it. So I think the first confusing thing about sweep picking may be that you're reading it on a tab and really it looks like you're just playing each note of a bar chord. So you say to yourself, oh, hey, that looks like a D minor bar chord. 5, 8, 7, 7, 6, 5. And so you think, okay, I played that chord before and I've played picking patterns over that chord, so I'm just going to set up a D minor bar chord and I'm going to be able to sweep pick this and start shredding. But then you realize something's missing and this just isn't working right because you have to add this 8th fret on the A string. So you're playing this bar chord and you're thinking, okay, I got my index fingers planted. I got this bar chord. It's sounding great. And then you go, and then you feel like you have to reach all the way up here if you want to grab that 10th fret to kind of resolve that, get that high octave. And then you're like, well, how in the world do I do that as quickly as everybody else does that who can sweep pick? And then I know I gave up for a few weeks on this because it just didn't make any sense. I was trying to, and I couldn't get that speed anywhere near what a sweep pick sounded like until one day, for some reason, my index finger just went like this. As I was moving around the arpeggio, my index finger stopped being locked into a bar chord. That is the biggest thing that I think is a pitfall for a lot of people who are wanting to begin learning sweep picking, and that's you're not playing a bar chord. Don't think that you're playing a bar chord. It sure looks like that shape. Knowing the shape of the bar chord really helps out, but you're flowing with your fingers in a completely different way. The second thing that's really tough about sweep picking is sometimes you have to roll a finger. And so with this D minor bar chord, you have to roll that index finger because this pinky was just utilizing playing the 8th fret. And so going would be a little tough unless you're someone like Jason Richardson who can do all of this without using those rolling motions. And I've practiced some of those ways to do that, and it's an adjustment, but this is the way you'll see most people play it. So you have that roll of that ring finger there, and then the middle finger playing that 6th fret, and then back up there to that 5th fret on the high E string. So you have the index, pinky, roll of the middle finger, and the important thing is that that index finger wasn't stuck there. It moved along and got ready to play that note as it went up, and also lets you reach that high octave as well, because you're not stuck in a bar chord trying to reach that pinky really high up. And then so you match playing the down, 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 and you try to get that as clean as you can, going up the arpeggio and back down the arpeggio. And slow is the key for this. If you try to just go through it real quick too early, it's going to be really sloppy. So trying to be really slow with it and get the mechanics and the muscle memory down of this arpeggio, it's really going to help out. So there's a really short lesson on the beginnings of sweep picking. Hopefully that helps out. There's really a lot of technique involved in this, so if it's something that's a little frustrating, keep trying and keep searching for other material on how to sweep pick. So this lesson will be aimed at more of an advanced guitar player who likes fingerstyle guitar playing. Someone like Tommy Emmanuel comes to mind for me. And the reason this is for advanced players is because there's just so much going on with fingerstyle that it takes a lot of years of practice to get good at it. And so what you can do to dabble in it for yourself is maybe take a song that you already know how to play the chords to and try to add the melody of that song over top of the chords. So maybe you take More Than Words by Extreme. We know that. And then we try to add in the melody when the singer comes in. And so take the notes that they're singing and add it over top of the chords. So the first thing you want to do is just figure out that melody by itself. So the melody to More Than Words is... So when you figure out that melody, then you'll need to place it over the verse chords, but you also need to figure out the timing of when that melody comes in. For this instance, the timing of the very first note of the melody comes in a little after the first time that the G chord is picked at the beginning of the verse. So it actually comes in like this. So you have a little bit of the chord at the beginning, and it comes in there a little delayed, and then we switch to the C chord. And there might be some adjustments that need to be made to those chords and some things that you could take away to just add in the melody, but still have a little bit of the chord behind there. So I kind of just play with those two fingers on that chord. And I move to the A minor that would normally be next, but the melody note is that D still. So I'm going to change the shape up a little bit. And then we go back to the C, and then the D. And then that would wrap us back around. So that's the first part of that melody, of that first stanza that I showed you. So when you put it all together, it sounds like this. And then you keep going with the song, figuring out more of that melody and placing it over the correct chords that go along with it. Hopefully this lesson could give you something to practice on throughout the week and supplement any lessons that you may be currently missing. And if you're not currently taking lessons and are interested, I do offer online lessons via Skype or Zoom or FaceTime, really anything that is a free online service for video conferencing. We can totally use that. If you're interested in that, my email is hoppermusicworks@gmail.com. Feel free to send me any of the questions that you might have about lessons, and if you're in the Colorado Springs area, we could even transfer those into personal lessons once everything kind of clears up. But thanks for watching.